Well, a Las Vegas doctor is working with patients even after two women died due to complications from surgeries he performed.
An investigation began after the 8 News Now I-team started asking questions. Well, now one victim's family member is calling out the medical board for what she calls just a slap on the wrist.
The I-team's Vanessa Murphy has this exclusive story.
I'm going to try really hard, to move on and just stay positive for the kids.
Deborah Mann is trying to grieve the loss of her niece, but what makes it even harder, she says, are what she believes are failures by the Nevada State Medical Board.
We just stay close and supportive and think of Paige every day.
In 2018, Deborah's niece, Paige Hazelton, went to Dr. Stephen Gordon for a Brazilian butt lift. It's a cosmetic surgery where fat is taken from one area of the body and transferred to the backside to make it appear fuller. According to the Clark County coroner, during Paige's surgery, fat traveled from her muscle to her lung, causing a blocked artery. The 30-year-old mother leaves behind two young sons.
She would have never left her children, and we miss her very much.
Paige didn't know that another woman had died after going to Dr. Gordon for the same surgery 4 years earlier. When the 8 News Now I-team started looking into Paige's death, we found two previous settlements with Dr. Gordon for $950,000 for a wound infection after a surgery in 1997 and another for nearly $700,000. That was the result of the death of Adriana Mendez Rodriguez in 2014. She was a 38-year-old single mother of two girls. An autopsy report states her organs were perforated during the liposuction part of the procedure. No disciplinary action had been taken against Dr. Gordon until the I-team started asking the medical board questions in 2019.
They could have done something about it. They could have saved another life.
Alejandra Lawler is Adriana's twin sister. 17 days after the I-team first reached out to the medical board, this 4-page complaint was filed against Dr. Gordon, alleging medical malpractice. This was 5 years after Adriana's death. Dr. Gordon then admitted to malpractice and had to pay a $2,500 fine, along with paying for the cost of the investigation. He was also temporarily banned from performing Brazilian butt lifts.
Your investigation led to a lot of facts that we didn't know going into this. There was no information on the medical board.
This complaint, filed in February of 2021 in connection with Paige's death, also charged Dr. Gordon with medical malpractice. It states he didn't discuss the risk of death associated with the surgery and didn't obtain written consent from Paige that acknowledged the risk of potential death. The settlement, filed a month later, states Dr. Gordon isn't admitting to the claims, but to resolve the complaint, he is admitting to malpractice.
They let him say he's not guilty, and then in the next paragraph, he has to say I'm guilty.
Dr. Gordon received a public letter of reprimand, and this time he had to pay a $5,000 fine and again the cost of the investigation. The agreement also states he shall complete 100 hours of community service providing medical care to the needy, along with 22 hours of continuing medical education.
When you read this document, it's so protective of the doctor.
The 8 News Now I-team requested an on-camera interview with the executive director of the medical board. He declined, but he did answer some questions on the phone and by email. Today, when you look up Dr. Gordon's information on the medical board's website, his license is listed as active. We asked why. The executive director pointed to this section, which does mention restrictions. We also asked why it is still not clear on the website that two women died during surgeries Dr. Gordon performed. Paige's death is mentioned, but not Adriana's. The executive director says Nevada state law requires medical malpractice be reported, but not the type of harm that's related to it.
He's being protected by the medical board, not given consequences, in my eyes. It's so upsetting. It was It was just beyond my belief.
Paige's family sued Dr. Gordon. The board's website lists a $950,000 settlement. We reached out to the attorney who represented Dr. Gordon for his cases with the medical board and did not receive a response by deadline. Dr. Gordon's cosmetic surgery practice closed, and according to the medical board's website, he was working at a burn center at Sunrise Hospital. A spokeswoman for Sunrise says his medical staff privileges there ended last year. Vanessa Murphy, Live Local Now.
In 2018, a task force of medical societies issued a warning about Brazilian butt lifts. That procedure is considered the most dangerous kind of cosmetic surgery, with an estimated death rate of at least 1 in 3,000. That warning came just a few months after Paige Hazelton died.